Hey guys, and welcome to your July Is Your Ex Coming Back. First and foremost, this is for the people who either want their ex back or they're really curious about, hey, what is he or she thinking about me? When you don't want your ex back, just stop watching. Next week is coming general reading and you're going to see it there. So I also have the new rules. So the sign that has the most of clicks and likes and subscribes is going to be read first and in that order the next time around. So it's a double whammy because they're first, they're going to get more opportunity to be first again. You need to kind of like fight as hard. But knowing Scorpio, this is almost like a way of life for you, and I think you like challenge. So let's see what happens, guys. If you're first time here, you will notice that I have these cards in every single reading. I'm not reading those cards. These cards are called significators. I have been developing this reading for almost like 2 years, and I found this combination works. And what basically I'm exploring here is like what really goes for you, what goes against you, what really needs to be glued if this relationship is ever to be a starter. Then these are significators, and it can be interchangeable and energy in between because this is a general reading after all. So for you guys to get messages, you probably should check your ascendant and your moon sign, so that way you can kind of like glue them more together. Also, when I do privates, I do them much different than what I do here, because then I can really fine tune into your energy. So keep that in mind. That's what I'm saying. Keep few and check ascendant and the moon sign to kind of like really get the better read. If you're first time here, or just somehow meandered over here, then if you get a message that really resonates, that message was meant for you, then please do subscribe, because you should kind of like tag along as long as you're getting the messages. That's the whole idea of this exercise. And lastly, we see what karma is thinking and saying that you need to learn or work on in this time, with this partner or without this partner, and the next steps. So let's start Scorpio. Scorpio. Interestingly enough, there is an issue of stability. If this is showing up, you maybe felt that somebody destabilized you, and you're going to hear me using somebody a lot. And the reason I'm doing that is because this is a general reading, and in general reading it can be so easy to see the other party in your reading because I have lots of cross watchers. So keep that in mind. So you have Six of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, Five of Cups, Strength, the Hangman, and Queen of Wands. Lots of people. Lots of people. You need to ask yourself in this situation, what I see is, and hopefully this is going to be a little bit clearer, if this person is really your friend. The Six of Pentacles is a really difficult person, difficult card to really interpret. It does talk about generosity. It does talk about sharing. It does saying like, give a hand to somebody when they really need it. But why is he having a scale, guys? He has a scale because you cannot destroy yourself. And I know you're a Scorpio, you like to destroy yourself. You're the only sign I tell you bad news and you go, yeah! Like, oh, come on, you almost like you're thriving on reinventing yourself. That's why you're shown. I don't know if you know, the Scorpion is kind of like the lowest level where you can enter. And you're supposed to grow from Scorpion to Eagle to Fish, from Scorpion to Fish to Eagle to Phoenix. And that's where you kind of like reach this highest potential. Here it's really talking about somebody who is possibly in a good financial situation and can actually have that ability not to work on this like a basic Maslow scale and just like deal with day-to-day kind of like tasks, but sort of like can extend this. So this is saying has to be measured, right? It has to be a certain amount of it right over here, because you're supposed to teach them how to fish, not to give them fish. But I really think this is also talking about some kind of like efforts that maybe were in vain, let's put it this way, maybe somebody who you really hope to build something, because after all, this Knight of Pentacles is showing up. To me, this is the ultimate friendship card, right? Where, you know, somebody should be prepared and efficient and ambitious and practical, but it almost looks like it was like erased. And it's almost like when you meet a person and they tell you all about themselves and you're so excited to a point that you're feeling, oh, I wish I'm a little bit more like this person. Then you realize everything is just their dream world. It's really, really not happening, right? Because, and then you say to yourself, okay, I should have realized that, you know, you cannot be studying medicine and be a pilot and, you know, and go to Antarctica and fight for the seals and save cats. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit too much on a plate. This person most likely is either woo-woo or a liar, right? To be kind of like candid with you. You also have here King of Swords. And King of Swords is really unusual to show in your reading, especially for you, right? You being a water sign, and I was just recently watching, it's a band that I really like, and I don't know if this is your thing, because honestly I'm so tired of this popular music. Everything is the same old, just everything sounds like a child ride to me. Nobody even cares to put the music. And I know I'm a classical trained person, and yeah, I do like classical music, but it's not my first choice. I guess, you know, I like alternative music better. So this band is called Cage the Elephant, that I really love. If you ever want to see Scorpio, check their latest video. I think it was what was this called, Ready to Go or something, Ready to Let Go, where he is having a song about a breakup with his wife. And I watched that interview where he's saying, look, I was more in love with love than with this person. It was like really painful realization. And he's, I think, writing that song while they're still together. And he's seeing this chasm in between two of them that's not able to be repaired. But just the use of blood and these like harsh images, and, you know, the beginning scene, he's kind of naked, the preacher is naked, right? It's really somebody who's going and pulling really deep. You kind of like pull these emotions to Mariana's trenches, kind of like of this world. King of Swords, on the other hand, is like somebody who looks at it from a completely different perspective. Just like me as an Aquarius, I really need to go into Scorpio in order to do these readings and use my Aquarius to interpret that, right? This kind of like is you more or less being on that Aquarian stage. Let's kind of like use my rational mind. If you wish, being that fish out of water. And even knowing that something might cost you. Even knowing that could be some kind of like loss or failure or despair as a result of it. So it's clearly spelling to me making tough decisions. There is like somebody in your life over here that I see. That could be a fire sign, could be earth sign, could be even more than one person that really wants to commit, right? To me, this is the ultimate card of commitment, the Strength card, right? And it's really the card that really talks about the true power comes from within. That somebody who, you know, it can have good connotations, it can have bad connotation. This really should talk about patience and overcoming obstacles, but it sometimes can actually indicate aggression, because lion is clearly not in proportion over here to this woman. If you ever seen a lion, their head is pretty much the size of us. They can swallow us in like one snack, kind of like a thing, right? So this is message to us that maybe the person you're dealing with, or somebody, you'll hear me using somebody all the time, needs to tame that beast within ourselves and find balance. And that's the key. And the same somebody is having this hangman situation over here. The hangman is, to me, ultimate card about sacrifice. It's ruled by Neptune. And it's kind of indication that it's time to end all ways and release the restrictions that are holding you back in life. So whoever this person is, even though this is a karmic message at this stage, maybe you are with someone who kind of like keep you still in some kind of karmic relationship right over here, because at this stage it's saying it's really not time for action, but it's time for inaction and reflection. And only that way you can manifest new opportunities. You know, you did have the Emperor kicking out, and here we see that Emperor. There is like this number 4 that is really showing up here. And the partner is appearing. Whether or not this is the partner that you're asking about, which could be a fire sign, or everybody who's dating is in a stage of fire, right? You start and you feel like all this rush of energy, you can stay up the whole night. Yeah, try to marry somebody and do that. It's not going to be the same thing, right? It's better be emergency, right? Somebody to keep you up all the time. So there is like this death card, which would make sense. We're going from 12, we're going to 13. So we are going to kind of like from the sacrifices and releasing, we are reaching this new perspective and surrender. You're literally becoming you. So you see this like high-end looking from above situation is absolutely benefiting you because you're ruling this card. And that is basically the bringer of that transformation. And you thrive on the transformation, right? You need to shed that kind of like old and familiar. I think maybe you got caught into same old and same old. Look at it, you're getting a karma card as well. Break those old habits and release anything that's hindering you. You know how I said you need to become a phoenix. Look at that. At one point in this life, because of this partner, you're becoming a phoenix because you're paying attention to some knowledge. You're realizing that you have options. You're realizing that you're not cornered. You're realizing there's more fish in the ocean. And yet, at the same time, you are not going down the path of destruction. You're not going down the path of, well, you know, I'll do anything to be with you, which sometimes Scorpios do it. That's another karma card. Justice is reversed, and there's Ace of Wands. Now, it's interesting because this card over here talks about that, honestly, no matter what I say, things are going to happen in the ordained, kind of like things from the orders from the above. When you wrote your karmic chart, and please check my website cattarot.ca to see I do karmic reading, akashic reading. It's really powerful. So when you wrote this in, and we write this, so you say, oh, this life sucks, like you wrote this, so you obviously wanted to learn this lesson. You have to start looking at it. What is the silver lining in this? What is it I want to learn? And you are here learning that lesson. This is really, really clear, right? Because it shows that you have also abundant opportunities in many directions that you can move forward. This is like a new cycle for you, right? And you're almost like starting to appreciate everything that you have been through. And now it's realization. You know, sometimes we look back. They say when you're running, when you're trying to go toward the goal, don't turn back because you're slowing yourself down. But this is getting to the situation where you're looking back and you're tapping yourself on the shoulders because that luck is changing. The luck is now in your favor. It is really happening. This partner might be coming back over here, to be clear, because sometimes I get these questions, well, is he or she coming back? Well, there's so many people, I sometimes have to go in a more philosophical answers and kind of like really this exact directive. But here I actually do see that. But I'm not so sure if this is the right thing or this is the good thing that is happening, because it almost looks to me, and usually happens when you have karmic card, because whenever you win, whenever you pass the grade, let's say in karmic reading, the same thing reoccur, maybe, who knows, a few times, to see if you have really learned that. It's kind of, are you sure that 2 and 2 is 4? Are you sure? And just because we learned that in grade 1, it doesn't mean that we are not asked the same question, oh, how much is 2 and 2 when you're 40 years old? So that's what I'm talking about. So you're getting here this dude over here, the Page of Wands. Pages are messengers, and it could be a very young energy, somebody very enthusiastic. Maybe somebody's going to invite you to travel, and it's going to be some kind of like meeting in creativity and exploration, but then bam, It's almost like you're going one step forward and then 10 steps back with this person, right? The Justice is another karma card, which occurs when, you know, this Libran principles start to show. And it's interesting to look, you're going from 12 to 13 and then you're back to 11. It's almost like with this person, you're spinning in circles, continuously spinning in some kind of circus. Wow, that's a Freudian slip. Maybe you have a circus with this person. This card really talks about the outcome that is kind of usually determined from the decisions that you have made. And now you have changed, you have shifted. So imagine like if you are like 30 years old and you shift to make decisions on the level of a 10-year-old. See what I mean, right? Because this talks about dispute and dishonesty and somebody is lacking accountability, but yet there looks like is that sex lure, and this is your, like, I mean, Achilles heel. Like, sex is a big lure for you with this person, even though there's lots of stuff that you're aware that shouldn't be going on. So let me see what else I see for this month for you. Yeah, you're reaching the clarity that actually you're really looking into this person in a sense that I really don't know how to go forward anymore. Are we friends? Are we in relationships? Are we partners? You're trying to kind of like put some definition. Look at this, like you're having 3 kings. It's the one that is missing a King of Pentacles. So I'm going to talk about King of Pentacles because it looks like there is somebody who needs ground. King of Pentacles, to me, it's a very powerful king. And it's the one that we all need to strive for, because in this life, in these 3 dimensions, I think that king is basically how we need to kind of like look at life. That we need to have a comfort, that we need to work hard, but we also need to play hard at the same time. You're represented as this King of Cups, which has a different dimension. It's the dimension of love. And there is like, looks like lots of, I don't know, either love messages or love letters that might be coming. And that part where somebody's telling you, I love you, I want to be with you, it's very appealing to you, right? But there is like this huge level of indecision still happening in a situation. Keep in mind that this person you're dealing with is the person who has a significant boredom level. And I think that always gets to you. It almost looks to me that you don't have that issue, because look at this, twice you're showing up as kings. Like you're going, and you're getting a little bit softer. It's going like from Swords, which is the highest energy, to King of Wands, which is lower energy, and then all the way deep into you, right? So King of Pentacles, the ground is, you know, missing over here. This, you know, the High Priestess is talking about that intuition, and you guys are very intuitive. It's about the subconscious. It's the wisdom, right? But it's also some kind of like mystery. And so I guess these are your kind of like kryptonites. You like mystery, you like sex. So you have to see if you can win over yourself. This card is really talking about just like this, looking from 1 to 10. It almost looks like that somebody here wants everything like this. Just because they show up in your life, you should drop your life. It doesn't matter that you live it before 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years, no matter how old you are. But now the famous, they show up, and you should just drop everything because they don't want to be bored from all the things, right? So it's the person who is really self-indulgent, if you really wish, because this is the card that talks about resentment and discontentment, right? And this person clearly needs healing. This person clearly needs to kind of like have higher level ideals coming to them, right? Because you're trying to meet them in this emotional world. You're trying to tell them, okay, sure, we can make this work. To them, you see, look at the disparity in energy. They have this Page of Wands and your King of Wands. So it's like you know, somebody who is like in a full-blown maturity and understanding, and somebody who is go 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 person meeting somebody whose energy is really appealing to them. But it's like, you know, like my brother said to me when I told him about my idea to go to a boot camp. He goes, sis, do you really think that's the best idea? And my buddy, my brother is a bodybuilder. He goes, I don't do that because it's ridiculous. That's for the kiddos to kind of like rip their bodies. He said, like, I mean, I hated being in the military when we did that. Why in the world would you do that to yourself? And then I was thinking about it. Yeah, because just because it's popular, you really don't have to go into that. That's kind of like where it really ends up. So keep in mind that you are landing on this beautiful card, my favorite card in this entire deck, the Star. And this is really talking about, just as I told you, you need to be a little bit more as Aquarius over here. You need to have very kind of like discreet taste and almost like a refined taste. If that somebody calls you sophisticated comes to mind, even though sometimes you tell people, oh, I'm sophisticated in taste, it's, oh, you're like too good for me kind of stuff, so be it, kind of a thing, right? Because this tells me this turbulence of Tower that comes before Star is finally done and over with, right? Because this is the light that you seek when you enter a new phase of life. And it's yet another 8, right? Which kind of again shows that commitment. But this is commitment to healing. It's a commitment to wisdom and telling you it's completely time to embrace new ideas, right? And seek. Of what you seek is going to become available. That's the beautiful hope. You know, you might be dying and alone in a desert and see no help and seeing vultures coming your way. But that renewal and hope and clarity is like something that is opening that kind of trail. You know how Moses walked on water and kind of like the oceans opened. And it does happen, actually, even in nature. You don't really have to go in the magical world for that. It's kind of certain meteorological phenomenon. It's just like if you, not because you believe, just in that case was like because it was the time to happen. And as you know, everything happens for a reason. And the one thing I didn't speak about was this one king that is missing, which is King of Pentacles. And this is about, as I told you, this kind of grounding influence, about having a power and influence and strength and abundance, that this is missing. And almost looks like instead of empowering each other over here, it felt like disengaging, because these two cards are very related, right? This is that Leo Aquarius axis, which is exactly opposite to yours, right? As you can see this here, right? Leo and Aquarius axis we see here, and we see Scorpio and Taurus axis. Those are the fixed sign axes, and fixed signs are basically holding this world together. Without us, just like one of these signs like pulls it off, if we get challenged by either the Sphinx or the Devil or the Snake, that if you kind of like go into more shamanic rituals, you will really know what is this all about. But this really means the whole freaking thing falls apart, right? So guys, you need to go deep in your own meditation. You need to understand what are your triggers. You need to understand, because it looks to me that you're letting this person back in spite of everything, in spite of secrets. Like you guys are either sucker from punishment or really, really, really in love, because this person is still pulling the fast one on you, because everything is going to be looking okay for now. Because look, you're going from 5 to 4, taking a step back in order to move forward with hope that you will go all the way to King of Cups. So there is this renewal, there is this sexuality, but do not forget the healing. This lady over here, she walks on water. That's why I told you this example. And she is naked for a reason, because there are no secrets anymore. And that's what we see it over here. They're like sort of like these little bookends of July month. So it's going to be interesting. So guys, don't forget to check your ascendant and your moon sign as well. It's really important. And don't also forget to click and comment and share. It's going to get your reading faster. And since you haven't been first, usually you guys are first, but you haven't been, Leo beat you to that. You need to click much more to do that. So what I basically also advise that you go several times per month and check it out, because trust me, you're going to get more and more messages the more times you hear this. I love you guys. Be good, and looking forward to hearing from you. And until the next week, when I do the monthlies, I wonder which one in line you will be. Love you guys.